A text says, "You're on my mind." A bouquet from 1-800-Flowers says, "You're my everything." Heartfelt moments belong in the real world, not just your phone. For 50 years, 1-800-Flowers has helped millions of people make memories that'll last a lifetime with gifts they'll cherish forever. Their expertly curated arrangements and gift baskets ship nationwide with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Don't wait for the next big moment. Make it when you visit 1-800-Flowers.com/podcast. That's 1-800-Flowers.com/podcast.
What if everything you've been taught about growing your business is actually killing it? Well, today's guest deliberately kept her agency small for 19 years. She sold it for a profit and is about to reveal why most entrepreneurs are probably building prisons instead of platforms. If you're tired of the hustle and scale BS, you might want to hear why staying small could be the smartest business move you'll ever make.
Hey there, audacious parents. Welcome to the Dark Horse Entrepreneur Podcast, where we're not just about surviving, we're about thriving. If you're tuning in, you're not looking for just another feel-good, pat-on-the-back kind of show. No. You're here because you're ready to disrupt the status quo. You're ready because you're here to challenge your limits and to step out of the comfort zone where we know growth never happens. This is not just your average, let's all be happy with our 9-to-5 lives kind of podcast. We're here to give you actionable strategies. We're here to dive deep into the world of side hustles, digital marketing, and smart income-boosting tactics. Why, you may ask? Because we're designed for parents like you, parents juggling family expenses, childcare, and the elusive me time. We're not just about making money, though. We're about designing a life that you dictate, not one that's been prepackaged in a soul-sucking 9-to-5 box. So, if you're ready to break free and design a life that aligns with your dreams, design a life that aligns with your family, you're in the right place. The Dark Horse Entrepreneur Podcast.
What is up, my Dark Horse entrepreneurs? You know, when most entrepreneurs sell their business, they ride off into the sunset. But not our next guest. No. You see, after building and selling a successful agency, she kept the most valuable asset all to herself. And that's the knowledge of how she did it. And now she's challenging everything you and I that we think we know about building a successful business. You see, for 19 years, Lorraine Ball did the unthinkable in today's grow or die world. She deliberately kept her agency small and mighty. While others were out there chasing vanity metrics and burning themselves out scaling, she built the business so systematized it could run without her. Then she did something even more radical. What, you may ask? Well, let me tell you, she sold the agency, but kept the intellectual property, proving that sometimes the most valuable part of your business is not what you think it is. She's also the host of the More Than a Few Words podcast for the past 15 years. She beats me when it comes to podcasting, 1,000+ episodes in, and she's been proving that shorter is better, simpler is smarter, and most entrepreneurs are probably working way too damn hard on the wrong things. While others are out there pushing hour-long episodes, she's built this loyal following around 10-minute insights that actually get implemented. But today she's here to challenge everything you think you know that I think I know about building a successful business. So if you're tired of that hustle and scale mentality and ready to hear why staying small might be the biggest competitive advantage that you have, you're going to want to take notes from Lorraine Ball. First, let's talk about something that's probably been hammered into your head since day one when you started your entrepreneurial journey. Probably since day one before you started your entrepreneurial journey. And that is the notion that you have to grow, or die. You know what I'm talking about, right? That whole scale up or get left behind, build your team or you're nothing. You need to 10x every damn thing in your business in order to be seen as successful. Ladies and gentlemen, Big Red X here for you. What if I told you that's just a load of... Let's just keep this family friendly. I just bleeped that out for you. But seriously, this grow or die mentality might just be the very thing strangling, starving, and even suppressing your business dreams and their growth. Here is the truth that nobody is talking about. Sometimes staying small isn't just smart, it's strategic. Now, Lorraine discovered this truth in a very fascinating way, and I want you to pay close attention to this story because it might just flip everything you think that you know about business growth right on its head.
I had my moments of doubt. I had my moments of, maybe I should add a little bit more, grow a little bit more. But the real turning point for me, and this was a few years in, I had a young woman who was working for me. At the time, I had one writer, one web person, one graphic designer. It was me and my assistant. I was like, well, I think we need to hire somebody else. And Allison said, why? And I was like, well, so we can take on more work. And she says, why? What do you mean, why? So we can grow, we can get better. She says, well, let's do the math. You're the math geek here. And I was. And she said, so if we add one person, their salary benefits is going to be this. You're going to have to sell that much more every month. What if we don't hire the person and raise our prices? Oh, and that was the other thing. We've got more people knocking at the door. We can't handle all the business that's coming in.
Did you catch that? Yeah, go ahead. You can rewind it and listen to it again. While everyone else was out there chasing growth through hiring, Lorraine's team member asked one simple question that changed everything. Instead of automatically expanding, they considered something, let's call it radical. What if they just charged what they were actually worth? You see, this right here is what I call the small giant strategy, where being mighty doesn't mean you have to be massively huge. No. And let me tell you why this matters so much for you, my Dark Horse parent entrepreneurs. The Dark Horse Entrepreneur Podcast. Because staying small isn't just about avoiding the headaches of managing a massive team. It's about creating something that most businesses only dream about: stability and excellence. Think about that for a moment. When was the last time that you heard of an agency where people stuck around for more than, a year or two? Yeah, in that industry, in our industry, people jump ship faster than rats on a sinking cruise liner. But when you stay small and you stay mighty, something magical starts to happen.
What if we just raise our prices? We'll have fewer people knocking at the door. We'll make more money. You'll be able to pay us more. We'll stay long. Now, the organization ultimately grew. I got to 10 people. And that was a good size. We were able to, because we built in different expertise. We also cross-trained people. But along the way, I had people, a good number. Some people came and went, but I had a graphic designer for 7 years. I had my web lead was with me 7 years. When I sold the business, the average tenure on my team, nobody had been with me less than 2.5 years. In my industry, that's kind of unheard of.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to let that sink in for a moment. In an industry where people typically bounce around like pinballs at the local arcade, Lorraine built something different. And here's why this should matter to you. Whether you're just starting out or whether you're already running your business successfully or otherwise, when you focus on being better instead of being bigger, you create an environment where people want to stay, where people want to grow, and where people want to deliver their best work. And here's the math that kind of goes behind this. So think about the math for this for a second. You don't have any constant recruiting costs. You don't have the endless training cycle and the costs that go with that. You don't have any knowledge walking out the door after 6 months or less. And more importantly, your clients are actually getting to work with people who truly know their business, who are truly engaged in their business and passionate about it. Here's the part that really, I think, gets me excited. Can you feel it's coming across, right? And I want you to lean in with me for a minute, just for a minute. When you stay small and you stay mighty, you can create something that those big agencies out there, they just can't touch. No, can't touch this. I'm sorry. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. A culture that feels like family instead of a factory. Let's talk about numbers, right? Because really, that's what business is about. It's about the numbers. But not the kind of numbers you might expect. Because while everyone else is out there bragging about their team size and their revenue goals, I want to share something that'll make you rethink what success really should look like. You see, when most people think about small businesses, they're picturing something limited, something lacking, something tiny. But what Lorraine did next completely flips that script. And I want you to pay close attention to this because I think it's pure genius.
I worked initially out of my house, and then a few years in, I bought a small house with a friend. We both had independent businesses. I ultimately bought him out of the building. So I owned a little house, and the little white house was actually, we used to refer to him as 5th employee and then our 10th employee, because that house was as much a part of the team as everybody else. You came in through the kitchen, nobody used the front door, clients included. There was this very homey feeling. You walked in and we treated you like you were coming into our house. Can I get you a cup of coffee? You want a Coke? One of the office pets would hop up into your lap and we would have a conversation.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me break down the brilliant business case that you just heard right there. First, instead of paying premium rent for some fancy downtown office, Lorraine turned the house into an asset. While other agencies were bleeding cash on glass and steel showrooms, she built equity with every mortgage payment she made. Second, and this is where it really gets good, she created an environment that actually became part of her competitive advantage. Think about it. No sterile conference rooms, no intimidating reception areas, just a warm, welcoming space that made her clients feel at home. And here's the kicker. When it came time to sell the business, she had not just one, but two assets. She had a profitable agency and a piece of real estate. This, my dark horse friends and family, is what I call smart small. Where every decision isn't about getting bigger, but it's about getting better. It's about getting smarter, and it's about getting more valuable. You might be thinking, well, Tracy, that's all well and good. That's great. But how do I make sure my small business doesn't become my prison? Well, that's exactly what we're going to talk about next, because it comes down to something Lorraine mastered that most entrepreneurs, I think, completely miss: systems. And I get it. I know this topic, it's not sexy, but it can be the difference between owning a business and being owned by your business. So before you roll your eyes or before you leave me to go get your coffee refill, come on back, stick with me, because what Lorraine discovered about systems might just be your ticket to freedom. And I mean real freedom, not that hustle 24/7 and call it freedom nonsense that tends to be floating around out there in all those offers that we see on our Facebook screens.
I took a look at the systems that we used to run that huge department. And I said, okay, how do I take those systems into an operation where it's just me? What makes sense? And when I started, the systems were a little overkill. I mean, it felt like I was doing a lot of paperwork for a little business, right?
Yeah.
19 years later, when I sold the company, I can tell you that any one of the hundreds and hundreds of companies we'd worked for over the 19 years, if they called and said, hey, 10 years ago, you did a brochure for me. With my system, we could still find that brochure.
Nice.
We could find the artwork. We could find all the notes. We had it all. And that had value. When it was time to sell the business, that system had value.
The Dark Horse Entrepreneur Podcast.
Did you catch that, ladies and gentlemen? While everyone else was focused on growing bigger, Lorraine was focused on getting better. She wasn't just building a business, she was creating a machine that could run without her. Now, let's talk about what this really means for you, because that's why you're here. You want to learn something, because this is where I think it gets good. Most entrepreneurs are so busy working in their businesses that they never get around to working on their businesses. But Lorraine, I think she cracked the code on something even better: freedom.
So for me, that mindset shift was my husband saying, I'm done. We haven't had a real vacation other than a weekend here or a weekend there. I have booked a vacation and you are going. And I went, no, I can't. You can. Yes, you can. And I did, and I took my computer with me, and I probably worked the whole vacation. But a year later, my son was stationed in Japan with the Navy. And in January, I said, you know what? In December, we're going to go to Japan. We're going to Japan. That's when his birthday is. We're going. And so I spent 10 months going, how do I do this? If I'm not here, who's going to do this? And the good news is that I had begun training my team. I had begun letting go. And, you hit the nail on the head. It is a mindset. You have to get to that moment where you look at something that someone else does. It is not the way that you would do it. There is no way and I would have done it that way.
Right?
But then you need to stop and say, but is it wrong? And if it's not wrong, move on. I gave my team tremendous freedom. I did have, back in the day, you had a lot of unpaid interns. So if a kid came to me and said, hey, Lorraine, I got this idea. I want to give this a try. And I'd be like, okay, what'll it cost us? Okay, that many resources. It's a small experiment. You can use it as your school project. Go for it. And one of those experiments was a little thing called More Than a Few Words. Intern said, I think you should do a podcast. And I was like, what the hell is a podcast? And he explained it. And I said, let's give it a shot. So being willing to let people, if they have ideas, try them.
Now,
This right here is what I call the freedom factor. It's not about working from the beach. It's about building a business that doesn't fall apart when you're not even there. Because here, my friends, is where most entrepreneurs get stuck. They can't let go. They think no one can do it as well as they can. And you know what? Maybe they're right, okay? But here's the $1 million question. Would you rather have things done perfectly, or would you rather have a life? I'm just asking the question, right? The answer's up to you. And speaking of millions and $1 million questions, let's talk about what all this means when it's time to cash out.
And the beautiful thing about having a business that runs without you, when you're running the business, you can take vacations. You can walk away. You can focus on weird little ideas, more sales, other things, and let the business just run. But when you get ready to sell the business, that's where the real benefit comes in. Because the first thing they ask is, well, what happens when you walk away? And my answer was, well, nothing. If you keep Sam and Simon, nothing.
Right.
Sam owns all the content clients. Simon owns all the web clients. They have all the relationships. They have all the institutional knowledge. Now, you don't keep them. Yeah, well, we're going to have, you're going to have a problem.
Right?
Yeah, but what they bought was a business that functioned with a team of people that did not include me.
Ladies and gentlemen, that right there is the golden ticket. A business that runs on systems instead of your superhuman effort. Yeah, it's not just more enjoyable, it's more valuable. End of story. Okay, let me break this down. And this is what we're called the 3 V's of value. Number 1, verifiable. Everything is documented and everything is repeatable. Number 2, the business, it could run without you. And number 3, valuable. Buyers will pay a premium for predictability. Think about it. What's worth more? A business that's all up in your head, or a business that's documented, a business that's systematized, and a business that is ready to scale? I think the answer is a little obvious, isn't it? But here's where it really gets interesting to me. And I want you to lean in again for this part, because while everyone else is out there preaching hustle and scale, a bigger myth we need to bust wide open. And some may call this a sacred cow. Well, we're about to slay that sacred digital cow. And you know the one I'm talking about, that hustle and scale mentality that's been pushed harder and harder than a gym membership in January. And we are halfway through January right now, and I'm sure there's a number of gym memberships that are going unused. Let me ask you something. How many courses have you seen promising to teach you the secrets, he says with air quotes, the secrets of scaling to 7 figures? How many ads have popped up on your feed showing someone in front of a Lamborghini or a jet telling you about their foolproof system?
Oh, hell yes. You get online, and I think I even did a show on this at one point. Everybody has a get-rich-quick scheme. Follow these 10 steps. Give me $100, follow these 10 steps, and you'll be a millionaire. You know what? 100 years ago, there were guys that came, or maybe 150 now, they rode into town with a little wagon filled with bottles of health in a jar. And they would sell you their elixir. And then they would leave town before you figured out that it was nothing.
The Dark Horse Entrepreneur Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, these snake oil salesmen, they have not disappeared. I think they just traded their wagons for webinars. And here's why it matters to you. While you're chasing their fairy tales, you're missing out on what really works. And let me show you what actually moves the needle in the real world, because this is where Lorraine's experience really starts to pay off.
I think that there are some good marketing basics that are critical. And I think that you have to find a place where you learn the marketing basics. And then I think trial and error. Spend time, get out and talk to real people. I know everything is online now. One of the most powerful things for me in my business was joining mastermind groups, not network. I mean, I did join networking groups where we traded leads, but I'm talking about sitting down with 4 to 14 business owners with a common purpose.
Now, this right here is what I call real world wisdom. While everyone else is buying courses about success, real hardworking, successful people are building relationships with other successful people. Think about it. No upsells, no hidden agendas, just real entrepreneurs solving real problems
together. And here's where we're going to take this up a notch, because Lorraine discovered something that most people, well, I think they miss completely, and I want to make sure you don't.
I had these 3 guys that I used to meet with, and we had very different businesses, and we'd get together for lunch every week, and we would talk about what was going right and what was going wrong in our businesses. And I learned so much from each of them, and I shared so much. And then I joined a group that was comprised of people that owned digital agencies, just like me. We were scattered all over the country, so we weren't really in each other's backyards. We weren't competing. And getting an opportunity to share best practices and talk to people who were doing what I was doing and living in my world.
You got that? Yeah. This is the difference between buying a map and having a guide. Let me break down exactly what makes this approach so damn powerful. Number 1, real world solutions. Instead of theoretical scenarios, you're getting actual solutions to actual problems. Number 2, diverse perspectives. You're not just getting one guru's opinion, you're getting multiple viewpoints from people who are still down in the trenches. Number 3, accountability. While you're meeting regularly with other successful entrepreneurs, you can't hide behind those excuses, right? Yeah, you feel me? And number 4, the network effect. Every connection that you have opens doors to more connections, and that opens doors to more opportunities, which opens doors to more growth. And here's what I want you to do right now. Take out your phone, open your calendar, and block out 1 hour next week. Label it Real Growth Strategy. And in that hour, here's what you need to do. You need to take the time to list 5 entrepreneurs that you admire in your local area. Research some local mastermind groups, or better yet, start planning one of your own. Because here's the truth, my Dark Horse friends and family, your next level of success isn't hiding in some damn guru's course, not even mine. It's waiting in the connections you have yet to build. All right? Think about it. I'm telling you. Okay. And that, my friends, brings us to today's whiskered wisdom. He says as he straightens out his beard a little bit. And again, go ahead, come back to me. Whatever it is you're doing, I want you to lean in and listen to this, because this could change your viewpoint on success. And I know I keep saying that, but some of these, they're pretty pivotal. And here it is. The size of your impact is not determined by the size of your company. Yeah. Stop company measuring. Some of the guys know the joke I'm talking about here. The size of your impact isn't determined by the size of your company. It's determined by the intentionality of your choices. With that, here's what exactly I want you to do today. And I mean today, not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel like it, not when you feel ready. I want you to create now, right now, I want you to create what I call your intentional impact map. Real simple. Take out a piece of paper and draw 3 columns. Then in the first column, what you're going to do is you're going to write down everything that you're currently doing because you think you should grow. Got it? Number 2, in the second column, write what you actually want your business to look like. Okay? And then number 3, and this is where the magic is, write down one system that you could create this week to make that vision in number 2 possible. Ladies and gentlemen, this isn't another planning exercise. This is your declaration of independence from the grow or die mentality that keeps so many entrepreneurs trapped in their business that they have come to grow to hate. Yeah, your declaration of independence away from it. Okay. Remember, sometimes the bravest thing that you can do as an entrepreneur is not scaling up. Instead, it's standing your ground and building something sustainable, building something systemic, and then building something intentionally small. Now, before we wrap up today's episode, and hey, if today's episode has lit a little fire under you, here's 2 things I need you to do. First, if you're ready to build a business that serves your life instead of consumes it, you need to be a part of the Dark Horse Insider newsletter. This isn't your typical, here's what worked 5 years ago newsletter. No, this is an weekly actionable intelligence about building a business your way, whether that's small and mighty or whether you want it to be ready to scale. So head on over to darkhorseschooling.com/newsletter or check out the link down in the show notes. And then when you sign up, I'm going to send you my complete system oversized blueprint, the exact framework I've used to help some entrepreneurs build businesses that start to run without them. And second, if you want to dive deeper into Lorraine's wisdom, right, check out the full interview over on the YouTube channel, right, Dark Horse Entrepreneur. Trust me, there are so many gems in there, we couldn't possibly fit them all in today's episode. Also, that link will also be down in the show notes. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to remember this. The world does not need yet another burnt out entrepreneur chasing someone else's definition of success. No, it needs you to build something real. It needs you to build something sustainable. And it needs you to build something that's true to who you are. Until next time, keep building, keep scaling, or even if that means scaling intentionally down. This is Tracy Brinkman reminding you to think successfully and take action.
Hey, my Dark Horse Entrepreneur parents, thanks for tuning in. If this episode struck a chord, share it with a fellow parent hustler. Let's grow our tribe that thrives, not just survives. For more insights and a community that totally gets it, join our Facebook group at www.darkhorseschooling.com/tribe. Think successfully and take action.